All right, folks, welcome in to Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network, and we are very excited here on this Weekends with Swipa episode. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm here with my guy, Swipa Cam. Oh my God, I did it again. It's Swipa. It's just Swipa. You want to know why I did it? Is because I read the Twitter handle on the actual graphic, and I forgot to just read Swipa. And also, you've got the Swipa Cam in the top left corner or top right corner up there.
Right.
God, I don't know how to use my finger. That's okay. Got the reverse camera going on. How are you doing on Sunday, dude?
I'm living, man. It's been a fun day. Some NFL games been going on all day. Great back-to-back games for the Denver Nuggets. And you know what? A little bit of down news, obviously, but nothing I think concerned about as of right now. And then on top of that, the team is rolling this early. They're 6-1. They got the second best adjusted net rating in the NBA. The defense is top 6. They're solidified. And you know what? Jokic is the best player in the league. And right now, people are asking the question is, does Jokic have a gap on the league like LeBron and Jordan had a gap on the league? So I think Nuggets fans are in a really good place.
It's been tremendous. It's been obviously tremendous to be in the building lately and watching Nikola Jokic's greatness. That's a thing that we'll definitely talk about at the top here. But Denver has been awesome. Before we get into that, we have to talk about this little thing on my face. I went over to see my parents today, and I've had a mostly unanimous approval rating on this thing on my face so far. And until I got to speaking to my mother about it, and she was not happy. So this might be coming off, folks, unless I hear
Why
a bunch of because I care about what my mother thinks. I'm sorry, Cam.
But you don't. But you don't live at home.
No, of course not. But
she doesn't pay your bills. So what's this? Yeah. What's this got to do with anything?
Because I'm a mama's boy. That's just how it's always gonna be, dude.
Yeah, I had a mother as well. What's that got to do with my facial hair? Y'all, it was a bigger adjustment for me to do this. When I have had a beard for all these years, there were people that were talking about it, like swiping, what is this? But they adjusted. My mom, everybody else in my life, everybody adjusted. You know what I mean? And now, it's a different kind of look, different kind of vibe. You know what I mean? A little bit of Captain Jack Sparrow, a little bit of, Rico Suave. You know what I mean? All that stuff. So, y'all, let Ryan know in the chat that he needs to keep the mustache because it works for him.
Or do I go goatee or this full
no,
this right here? No, nothing like that. Okay.
No.
All right.
You're 26, sir. You're not 45.
You know what? I'm 26 going on 36 at this point. So, but no, we're having a good time. It's I just wanted to share with the chat on that one. But no, it's been a good Nuggets week overall. It's been a good positive experience. I want to talk. So Denver obviously defeats the Dallas Mavericks. They defeat the Chicago Bulls Friday and Saturday back to back by a combined 33 points. We saw some interesting things happen in this game. Saw some interesting things happen overall. I'm curious about your opinions here. How do you think Denver handled this? How do you think they the way that they approached these two games? One was an in-season tournament game, obviously. The other, they play everybody. Jamal gets hurt, but they still end up defeating Chicago by 20. How do you think things went over this weekend?
Yeah, I think it was great. I think the fact that the Nuggets were able to get ready for the in-season tournament, a new thing the NBA is doing. They were the last ESPN spot of the night, meaning you're getting all the eyes and all the action. You get the Jokic versus Luka, Balkan, basically just an opportunity for them to see the two best players out of Europe, including Giannis, obviously, that's getting ready to come and play. So I think it was really good, man. I think the fact that they were able to come out and they got up to 20 versus Dallas. They were letting it be clear. Again, people are going to forget this. Dallas was a top team in the NBA. They were 4-0 going into that game. They had one of the best offenses. I think the second best offense in the NBA going into the game. Their defense was 19th, so they weren't good defensively. And the Denver Nuggets, they clamped them for most of the game. And then in the third quarter at some point, I think they had like a 105 defensive rating or something like that. And then obviously it kind of went haywire a little bit in the fourth quarter, which is fine. That is what it is. But again, they had their way. They did whatever they wanted. Joker missed 2 shots. He was 14-16. Jamal Murray was playmaking. I think he had 13 assists in that game. Michael Porter Jr. found his groove, started shooting the ball well again, was 4 of 8 from 3. And then on top of that, we got the special where Michael Porter Jr. kept getting targeted by Luka Doncic, held him to 2 of 8 shooting per NBA.com for 25% from the field and forced 5 turnovers as well. So there were so many different things that we saw from that game. And then a letdown spot right in front of him with the Chicago Bulls, who were 2 and 5, 2 and 4 coming into that performance. And they were a team that last year beat the Nuggets in March in Denver by 21 points. During that little malaise when they were the number 1 seed by 7+ game going into the playoff. I think they won by 21 points. And everybody was asking around the nation, are the Nuggets fraud? Look at DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's last 4 games versus the Nuggets all been great. What's going to change this time? Zach LaVine at 12 points. Didn't shoot well.
It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good to see.
DeMar DeRozan was nowhere to be seen over the course of that game. So
it was
just a great game.
Yeah, it was interesting to see, and it was interesting to see Denver handle that. They were very serious. I know that the injury kind of screwed some things up within the flow of the game. I would say we'll talk about that a little bit more in the second segment, everybody. But in general, it was just nice to see Denver turn what was definitely a letdown spot, like you said, into a spot where they put the clamps on and they put the blitz on, especially in that third quarter. At one point, I think Jokic was plus 18 in the third quarter alone, and the Nuggets were, I think, like plus 25, plus 26 in the second half with Jokic on the floor.
Right.
And the way that he turns it up, the way that he continues to showcase the levels that he's reaching, he's finding new ways to do it. And the tipping, the passes or the rebounds that he's tipping to himself consistently. There was one sequence, especially against Dallas, where he's got 2 guys that he's going up against, tips the ball in front of Luka, tips the ball off the backboard a second time, grabs the ball, collects the rebound, and lays it up and easy. It was it's a masterclass in how to manipulate the game, in how to manipulate every aspect of the game. And this is one aspect that most teams don't necessarily think about a ton, which is the rebounding game. And Jokic is that master. He really does. He very rarely gives up offensive rebounds unless it's kind of out, well outside of his area. And sometimes he creates offensive rebounds for himself because he's just got the best hands in the league.
What's funny, man, is Joker, this is the worst time of the year for him. This is when he's at his worst as a basketball player this is one of the last 4 seasons now, but the last 3 seasons especially. It's the beginning of the year. Joker typically doesn't come out and just absolutely put the January pressure on you, where he's been player of the month the last 2 Januaries, maybe 3, but definitely the last 2 Januaries he's been player of the month. And, right now, Jokic isn't playing super well. I mean, he's averaging 27.4 career high, 12.7, 7.9 on the 70% true shooting. On the season, he is shooting 40% from 3, 63% from the field. He was 9-9 from the free throw line versus Chicago. The great stat that you put out, Ryan, can you tell the people, what exactly is Joker from floater so far?
So far this season, 7 games, he's 18 of 19 on the floaters. He was 2 of 3 in this last game against Chicago. Missed a shot, and I thought Nikola Vucevic should have been called for a foul on the play. Jokic collects the rebound on that play. Tony Brothers hits him with an offensive foul for some reason. But in general, he has been as perfect as possible on one of the most difficult shots in the NBA.
Yeah, man. So I think the conversations, Ryan, that we're just having about this team is, people are saying the Boston Celtics are the best team in the league, which is fine. I have no issue with that. I think if you go to dunks and threes per adjusted schedule, they have the 29th ranked schedule in the NBA right now. So the Nuggets are sitting at, in terms of schedule, they're sitting at 15th as of this last game they played versus the Bulls. So they were at 10 before that, but mid-level schedule, whatever. But I will say this, the Nuggets defense is very good, and they are playing extremely hard. And really, outside of the Minnesota Timberwolves game, and then the first half of the Bulls game, they've been dominant. They've been a dominant defensive unit. And, You can't ask a team to play 100% defensively every single game. But so the fact that they have leaned onto their defense and the fact that they have accentuated so many things so well, and again, they don't have a mark defensively on the roster right now. So that's another part of this too. Like, I think the Nuggets are just finding a tempo and a rhythm to the season that even if they had to let down game versus the Wolves, man, they're just hitting on all cylinders right now, and they're finding new cylinders to hit.
It's just been awesome to watch, and I want to point out this. Let me see if I can find it here real quickly. This quote that I got from Reggie Jackson last night on Jokic. And also, like, if anybody wants to check out, I posted about a minute long video of Michael Malone opining on Nikola Jokic's success and how it's hard work that kind of causes it. So go check that out at some point. But here's what Reggie Jackson had to say about Nikola Jokic last night. Quote, he mentally dominated the game today. That was fun to be on the court with him. And at times I'd be sitting there watching him. He controlled the entire game. And that's kind of where I'm getting at. Like, because he has controlled the game before. But this is the different level, like with the pacing that he has throughout the game, the aggressiveness, knowing when to push the button versus when to kind of sit back and kind of let the game come to him, let other guys cook for a little bit. He found awesome ways to get the team going, especially in the
Mm-hmm.
second half last night, where Denver needed a jolt. And it looked like he was just so fed up with the way that the first half went and was like, I got to take over. I got to find ways. And whether it was scoring or rebounding, actually, it was really the rebounding aspect. That's when you know that Joker is as good as he's ever going to be. It's when he has those 15 plus rebound games, and he had
Right.
9 rebounds in the third quarter last night. So I watch that and I see that and I hear what these guys have to say about him. There was at one point where he was like 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in the first half,
Right.
and like I don't know where he exactly finished, but it was pretty minimal. And then when you just have the ability to turn on the jets like that, right when the team needs you, I think this is the best version that we've ever seen of him.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, I think the thing is, man, I think not we, but I think the way that he was talked about for all these years, people were just so quick to admit to. Because again, I think whenever there's a phenomenon, unless you see it coming, it's hard to accept it.
Sure.
Like Jordan, you saw it coming. North Carolina, 6'6", Michael Jordan. And then as soon as he hits the league, 27 points a game, right? Magic, the smile, getting down the court, the ping passes behind the back of the head. Starting at the center position in the NBA Finals at the rookie, 42 points. Kareem, hook shot, undefeated through UCLA. The freshman UCLA team, taking down the veteran UCLA team that just won a national championship. You hear all this stuff, and then you have Joker, Sombor, 41st pick, wasn't a dominant player until 2018. First team on, yay, all right. And then he goes to the Western Conference Finals, a couple good performances here, cool. Then he wins an MVP. This isn't somebody we anointed. Then he wins an MVP again. This is not somebody we anointed. And then he's on the track to win his third. We didn't anoint him. He's not going to win 3 straight like Bird did. And then he goes in 30, 13, and 10 in the NBA Finals. And everybody's like, okay, is he like one of them ones? Should we be talking about him like we talk about LeBron and Jordan and Kareem and all these players? Because I think that's where we're headed. And I know that like the world is catching up to that part. Like that's the last step of this. But Ryan, there is no one that has the ability to just control the game. And I don't know if you've seen it. I've been putting a lot more clips out on Twitter because I know some people don't have access to the game. So I want to make sure they're getting like the highlights and stuff. But Ryan, like his ability to like control every little part of the game. That little when he was coming off the cut, that little Sombor
Oh
Euro
yeah.
step that he had off of Luka, crazy. And then on top of that, the Sombor shuffle over the left shoulder again. The ability to turn around right before halftime, step into a arcing 3-point shot. He just does it all. And defensively, he's been good too. So, bro, I think we're in the Jokic era. We've been there the last couple of years, and I think people are just catching up to it.
Grant Williams has to retire the Batman nickname. Like that dude, he got just flambéed out there, and there's just no reason for that to ever exist ever again. Like it was a one time 1 year thing, and it would be it's just tremendous to actually to see it continue to go.
Right.
Um, All right. Well, let's move on to one more segment here before we take a break. Michael Porter Jr. I think you're pretty passionate on this topic. I think you have some opinions on Michael Porter Jr. and the way that he has played and the way he continues to evolve. I want to give you the floor here because this is what you sent me in a text message, and I laughed about it. Uh, Michael Porter Jr., the next Scottie Pippen. What's going on?
Yeah, I think if you were watching basketball and you saw a 6'10" super freak athlete, 2018 coming out of high school, you're like, that's one of the five best high school players I've ever seen in my life. I wonder how good he would be. And then you get the back end and all this other stuff, goes through the NBA career, the offensive player, great offensive player. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, he can't play any defense. And then you're like, well, just give him time to play basketball. Let him grow. And then subsequently, he's 25 years old, Ryan. And now all of a sudden, we saw it in the playoffs, and people were like, well, played against the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Suns weren't healthy. Oh, the Lakers, LeBron had a bad foot. Jimmy Butler had a bad ankle. Oh, and then all of a sudden you come into the year, Michael Porter Jr. all of a sudden is he like one of the 20 best wing defenders in the league? And everybody now is like, oh, I mean, that's gassing it. Like, is he really? No, legitimately, dude. Like, Ryan, he has been spectacular. Did you see the video I put up yesterday of the rotation that him and AG have
Yeah.
during the game yesterday?
Yep, I did.
Bro,
It's
on
tremendous.
a string. On a string, he's communicating, he's catching a short roll, he's helping, he's contesting at the rim, and he's staying in front of people, bro. Like, Porter, man, is putting himself in a different class of players because we used to say, man, him and Pascal Siakam, would you make that trade because of the defensive upside? If only they got Andrew Wiggins with the Warriors, all this other stuff. He's a better offensive player than a lot of players in the league. And if you're telling me that he continued to get more healthy with the ankle, his back, as he said 2 years ago, is going to get healthier and healthier as he gets older because he's getting further away from the surgeries and all that stuff. Bro, man, he's just amazing. Also, I want to pull this up real quick. Somebody says that MPJ can't fight over screens. All right, I want to name a 6'10" wing that fights over screens easily like KCP does. Because I want to know who that is. Because I've seen Tobias Harris, LeBron. LeBron sure ain't doing it.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant ain't doing it.
No way.
Wembanyama's not even fighting over screens. He's 7'4", and he's a great athlete. That's just not what tall players do. What you ask him to do is to help him recover. And what does he do? He helps him recover. So go ahead, brother.
Got long arms. He's got plenty of opportunities there to just contest those shots, especially from the rear view, because he has been working really hard. He has been doing those extra things in order to become successful. I think when you say 6'10" guys that fight over screens, the only guy that comes to mind there is Ben Simmons, and he was in the defensive player of the year discussion. So like, it's a very rare skill set to have.
He was built like Gumby at 6'10",
No, I've got there's plenty of reasons to be happy about MPJ, especially. Another quote that made the article on last night. He told me he's just trying to be aggressive, trying to run the floor, just getting in better shape and making myself tired out there. He says, quote, I just feel like the better shape I'm in, the more I'm able to have a motor and keep going. Right. And when I heard that, I was just blown away. I just absolutely floored. And there's so many reasons to there are reasons to criticize guys. And for MPJ for a while, it was that sometimes he could get frustrated, sometimes he could get knocked out of the play, and then he'd give up on some plays here or there. Now he's never done that. He has never once done that at all. He is working hard. He's working through these screens. He's battling on the glass. He's fighting through. He's staying in front. He's contesting from behind. He's done everything that you could possibly ask of him to do on the defensive end, switching onto the opposing team's best player and giving them hell. Like, that Shea's not fighting for him. He wasn't trying to seek him out in the blowout that the Nuggets had. He was seeking out the Nuggets smaller guys, because why in the world would he try to go at the 6'10" Porter? And the same is true for Luka. Although Luka, one of the things that he does is he tries to go at the opposing team's strength a lot of the time. And it's almost like a challenge for him. He's trying to seek that out in a lot of ways. And I wonder if he was trying to go at Michael Porter because he saw him as a weakness, or because he saw him as a strength. I don't know.
Well, he did that to Giannis, but I think if you're gonna do the Giannis thing with him, then like Luka will pull Giannis away from the rim, so the help
Yeah.
side defense is open. I think the thing is, if you're gonna do that with Denver, then you would want to do that with AG, because he's going to be the one that's actually the better help side. But now at this point, and then the thing is, he stayed out of foul trouble. That's the thing you actually have to worry about with him because he's so long. Remember, he used to put his arms in the cookie jar all the time. But dude, like even versus DeRozan, like used to eat him up a couple years ago. And so the way he played. Let's just go through the season. LeBron James, Desmond
Jaren
Bain,
Jackson, maybe. Desmond Bain,
Jaren
too.
Jackson,
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson Jr., Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jay Will, and then they had DeRozan, Levine.
Mhm.
You got Anthony Edwards. Everybody got blown out that game. And then you had
Missing Lauri Markkanen.
Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of defensive challenges so far this year, and you haven't seen him taken advantage of. Now, he had a couple versus I think it was Torian Prince, but he was a couple open threes that he had like on some contests. I'm trying to think who scored on him over the course of this year. Tim Hardaway Jr. had a couple plays where he bumped him and all that other stuff. But again, like that stuff happens. Like everybody has those moments. But just even star level players, if they're going at MPJ at this point, you just got to feel good about it.
Put him on Jaylen Brown, dude. I don't care.
Yeah, facts. That's a fact.
Put him on Jaylen Brown and let Jaylen Brown try to go at him. Like, I do not care at all what Jaylen Brown is going to try to do against Michael Porter. Like, that is a perfectly reasonable matchup for Denver. And if Jaylen Brown wants to shoot 20 times, we just saw it last game for Boston. He shot like 7 of 22. If he feels like he's got a great matchup against MPJ, cool. Fine. I don't care. Like, if you're going to try to shoot over the dude.
But you know what's so funny, man? And I just really hope, I can't wait till the Nuggets actually play Boston. I think they're a really good team, man. But I'm telling you, bro, if you're telling me that you're going to have KCP, MPJ, AG, Peyton, Christian, Zeke, just those thicks, and then plus, Murray, bro, they're going to have so many wing defenders in any of these matchups, man. Like, I just think people they're underestimating a little bit, I think, just how, like, the bevy of wing defenders they have right now because MPJ has become a plus defender.
It's unbelievable. Like, I do think that this has changed Denver's trajectory. You've mentioned that before, where it's like changing what to expect because I expected him to be like Tobias Harris on the defensive end or something like that. Not good, but like not a problem. Like you're not really going out of your way to attack Tobias Harris all the time.
Right.
With Porter, you may want to actively avoid the dude. Like just keep him out of the actions. Put him in off-ball screen actions. Try to make him work off-ball as much as possible. Get through those where guys are like sprinting around on the perimeter and things like that. That's probably the way to take advantage of Michael Porter. Not isolating him. Like that just allows him to kind of use his length and do what he does best, which is be super tall. Like it's been really, really cool. And I did want to make special mention of this on the pod because he deserves that credit. And the way that he has fought through, even like he said, 75% on his ankle right now. He's not feeling great. Right. He's not feeling perfect, but he's getting better. And I do like Scottie Pippen also did things on the offensive end. So we should probably mention that he had 24 points and 27 points and really took over on offense in the second half. He had 19 in the second with Jamal Murray out. So like the dude has been tremendous. And it's why I made the benching against Utah such a big deal. Because I did not think that he deserved that. I think he's good enough that he did not need that. And a lot of people were questioning me, like why I was making a big deal. This is why, because you don't bench this dude.
Yeah, well, even with that, like people are saying that Christian Brown's playing a good game. They don't have an issue with it. I'm like, now to be fair, Aaron Gordon got benched for Jeff Green in the finals. Like that happened. Like that happened in game 3. Was it game 3 when
I think it was game 3. There was a big 3 that Jeff Green hit in game 3 for sure. I do remember that.
And AG was struggling scoring one of those games, so they just left Jeff in. And so I get it. Like that can happen. And because there's 2 players on this team that are on the court, no matter the situation. We're really, and honestly, if we're being honest, it's 3 because I think KCP has moved into that role. But KCP also is a POA defender. So you just don't take POA defenders off the court. But I think Porter at this point, he's closed every game this year other than the Utah game. And it's like, yeah, he's just one of your best players and one of your best defenders now. Just so I don't know, man. It's just I am so incredibly happy and proud of the progress he's made. I actually spoke to his dad when I saw him at the I think it was the Laker game, because we obviously, talked before offline. And, just the way that even just he acknowledged how much MPJ has grown and what he's done to improve his game and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been really good.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to cover Jamal Murray's injury. I know that we've got some questions from the comments about what's going on there, and we'll give the full details that we know as best as we possibly can. But first, everybody, as you know, this podcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook Sports. Have you ever thought about referring a friend and earning a free $50 this season with Superbook Sports? Superbook is the most trusted name in sports wagering, and you do not want to miss their Refer a Friend bonus. All you need to do is click on the Refer a Friend link under your profile in the Superbook app. Share the promo code with friends, and you will get a $50 bonus for everyone that actually signs up using that promo. They do a great job of taking care of their own, and you'll get a $50 bonus if they register. So win money wagering and win money referring this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll be right back on Weekends with Swipa. And we're back. Pickaxe and Roll. Ryan Blackburn here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Weekends with Swipa up on this Sunday evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by. If you can, it'd be awesome if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the show. That helps us out tremendously. Make sure to go subscribe to the Swipacam YouTube channel, as well as to the Alley Oop with Ryan Blackburn. Those really help us each individually.
What is the Alley Oop with Ryan? Is it Brian or is it Ryan Blackburn? Who is
you know what? Like as somebody who talks for a living, I often screw up my own name. Sometimes I do say Brian Blackburn because I just get tongue tied. No, it is.
Can I get a 15-second teaser on what exactly the show is?
Sure, absolutely. The Alley Oop with Ryan Blackburn is a YouTube podcast and an Apple Podcast, Spotify podcast where you can learn all about the entire NBA from the smartest voices around. Each of those voices covering their individual team. You get the best possible content all in one place. Make sure to subscribe to the Alley Oop with Ryan Blackburn. Thank you, Swipa. Really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've heard great things about the show, so I just want to confirm.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's talk about Jamal Murray's injury now. This is something that kind of hit a little bit like early second quarter. Murray was getting very physical with Alex Caruso, who fantastic. I gotta say, probably the best defensive guard I've ever watched play. Like, and I'm in person, like I've ever seen in person. There are guys in history that I think obviously you'd probably take Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, guys like that in terms of how they affect the game. But I mean, good Lord, Alex Caruso is as dominant of a defensive player, as pesky of a defensive player as I've ever seen at the guard. Like just unbelievable. And like we could come
defense on AG. It was great.
Yeah, it was tremendous. So we could come up. That's actually a good piece of content that we could do throughout the season at some point. We could come up with our rankings for different skill sets. But like he battles with Jamal. Jamal gets blitzed on a pick and roll at some point. He throws the ball away, throws the ball to somebody else. And in that sequence, he hurt his hamstring somehow. I'm not sure when exactly it happened, but it was in the first minute of the second quarter on Saturday night. And as it turns out, he has a right hamstring strain. Let me just confirm that on the injury report. Yes, right hamstring strain. And he is out for this upcoming game on Monday night, tomorrow night. Not really surprised that that's what happened based off of how it's kind of holding the back of that hamstring. He was kind of definitely limped out of the tunnel and clearly something happened. The x-ray room was open for Denver. I'm not sure who was getting x-rays or if it was an MRI machine. He was getting, it was at least open up in the post game last night. So somebody was getting something checked out. I'd imagine that it was Jamal. And I'm curious to see what they do and then how they handle this, because it does seem like maybe a little bit more serious, and they might be a little bit more cautious than we initially thought. So, Swipa, I want to ask, who would you start with Jamal Murray sidelined?
Me?
Yes, if it was up to you.
Well, somebody who leans defense, because that's how I always work. I would do something nasty, no nasty. I would probably more than likely see what it looks like. Who they play? They play the Pelicans, yeah.
Play the
They
Pelicans.
Warriors coming up.
Also, by the way, CJ McCollum collapsed lung. Like that
Again,
came out
second
today.
time
I'm
in
not
3
sure
years.
what the ramifications are of that injury or the timetable there. Did you see a timetable come out?
No, but it's the second time and it's happened to him. So, just obviously praying for a speedy full recovery for him, because that's obviously very scary.
Absolutely.
But he seemed to be in good have a good posture about it. He made a joke about it on Twitter.
I saw that. I did laugh. That was funny.
But you know what? I'm probably leaning Christian Brown.
Okay.
I think that if I'm going to do that, obviously I want to keep Reggie Jackson's minutes. I would like to see if we can manage that. But Christian Brown played really good this year. Like, very good. Andy Bailey put out the per 75 with him and Bruce Brown last year. And Christian's he's scoring a little bit less on worse efficiency, but his rebounds and his assists are up. And I think Christian offers a lot. So Christian, KCP, AG, MPJ, Jokic. Nobody's scoring on them. And for me, it's like, you got 2+ shooters, and then you got everybody's a cutter on that roster, and then you can put Reggie Jackson in. I think I would put Julian Strawther right in that spot, right behind him. And so you have Reggie Jackson, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji, and then whoever, if you want to play a fifth, you can play a fifth if you want.
Maybe staggering a Aaron Gordon or a Michael Porter might make some sense there.
Yeah, for sure. I think Reggie with Porter or Reggie with AG, probably with Porter at this point in time, because I don't want to overwork AG's body too much. But yeah, man, I'd probably just lean defense and just say, cool. Because remember, this happened last year, and I brought this up, in a text chain today with some other some NBA folks, and I basically said last year versus Memphis, remember Jamal Murray missed that game in December, and they started Bruce Brown. They started Bruce Brown, KCP, AG, and MPJ.
No, it was
MPJ without Christian Brown.
Mm-hmm.
They started Christian Brown, and they won 105 to 91. And then the Warriors game, the second game of the year, there was no Jamal because it was a back-to-back, and they started Bruce Brown with MPJ, AG, Jokic, and KCP, and they dominated. So again, throw all the defenders out with Joker, and just throw the athletes out there, and I guarantee more than likely they're going to run people out of the gym.
I do think that there is logic to that. I don't want to say outright that it's the best situation. I think that there is reason to just start Reggie and to kind of do what they did last night, which is, hey, stagger Reggie with the second unit. It's a heavy burden on him initially, and maybe he's not physically ready for that. Maybe that's just kind of a one game thing, and they'd rather keep his minutes down. But he was a starter, and they clearly value his impact. They clearly value what he can do kind of handling the basketball and organizing things and making sure everybody's in the right place. And I thought that Reggie has mostly handled his assignments pretty well. So I think there's at least logic there. What about starting Colin Gillespie and leaving Reggie with the second unit?
No, absolutely not. That's something Malone would do, but no, that would ruin your defense. He's way too small.
So it's not just something Malone would do. It's actually something George Karl would do, where I remember specifically there were times where they would start the third string and then leave the backup unit intact.
Yeah.
I don't think that
the third string is Julian Strawther, though.
Right. But I'm talking like third string point guard, third string at the position of need.
Colin is just so small, bro. And like, they're going to play against the Pelicans, which is fine. But then they're playing the Warriors. No, I'm not putting Collins and Lipsy on the court with Steph Curry and Clay and Dre and all them. I would rather not do that personally. But Colin played well. He did. He played well in the minutes that he played, and he closed with the starters in the fourth quarter.
What about Justin Holiday?
Yeah, I don't care. You know what I said? I said I think Justin's going to play point guard at some point this year, and you looked at me. You were like,
Well, I don't think he might slot in at the 1, but, like, he's not
But
playing
that's what
point
I'm
guard.
saying.
Yeah.
That's fine. But the Nuggets don't need you to do anything at a point guard level that's at a high level because you got MPJ, you got AG, you got KCP. That's enough. And then you got Jokic. That's just enough. Like they don't need to do a lot with that. And if you need Aaron Gordon getting you involved in sets, and then you get into your action and stuff, well, cool. Well, guess what? If they're gonna run a horn set, then just have MPJ be the one to pass into the horn set. Or if you're running a double drag, run a double drag for KCP. Like it's just, to me, it's just I would much rather they take care of the other end because the offense isn't going to fall off. And that's not that Murray's not a great offensive player. Obviously, he is. But in a regular season setting, you can get by with having Justin Holiday, Julian Strother, or Christian Brown in at the 1, and then you just rotate around that.
I think it's fair. I think it's completely fair, and I do agree with you for what it's worth. That like there are ways for Denver to make it work.
You're right.
What I will say is that the one area where I'm really concerned about this is going to slow down Denver tremendously. This is going to slow them down. One of the good things about having a point guard out there is just you get into your sets faster because everybody knows what they're going to do. Everybody gets up the court. You can trust Murray to get the ball up the floor and get the Nuggets into their sets and make sure that everybody's organized in the right place that knows the play. And often it's just like calling the play, relaying that to everybody else. It's something that we don't really even think about, but it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a slow process. And so Denver needs these veterans out there. It's why I think maybe Reggie is a good idea to start and then just stagger with the second unit, even like especially if it's a temporary thing.
But you know
Now,
what's great? Remember Michael Malone just playing Peyton Watson to earn his minutes, but also to get him ready. So I think if they're serious about Christian Brown becoming a lead ball handler at some point, well, this is the perfect opportunity to give him some run versus some good teams.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. You've got New Orleans coming up. You've got Golden State coming up. You've got some pretty tough matchups here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do handle it.
Who's the
Uh,
third matchup this week?
They
I keep
have Houston on Sunday. Actually, let me go to it here real quick.
Yeah.
Next week you've got or tomorrow you've got Monday versus New Orleans. Wednesday you have Golden State. Sunday is actually at Houston. It is not home versus Houston. Just
Yeah.
for everybody watching at home. Sunday they will go on the road, and I think that's a 5-game road trip if I'm not mistaken.
No, they come back for the Clippers
Okay,
on the
that's right.
14th. And
That's
then
right.
they have a 5-game road streak with the Pelicans, Cavs, Pistons, Magic, Rockets. Now go ahead and write an L in the Magic box because that's going to be an L. I already know it's going to be an L. The same thing with I knew the Wolves were going to be an L.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to figure out which teams
Oh
this
yeah,
team will
a
struggle with.
young,
Yeah.
long, strong, hard-working team that has something to prove in the Eastern Conference and trying to get into the play-in playoff. Oh yeah, on a what day is it? On a Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good luck.
Also, I I definitely made fun of the Lakers for traveling to Orlando and getting their asses handed to them. It's going to happen to Denver too. Like it's just
Orlando's a
going to
really
happen.
good team, bro. They're per Duncan threes right now. They're about the 13th best team in the league. They're 4-2. They got an adjusted net rating of a +0.8. Their offense is not good. Their defense is a 108.8. So like they're just big, and they're
Yeah,
they're like a Minnesota S team. A bunch of big
that's a good
athletes.
comp. Yeah, I
Wendell
do
Carter
like that.
Jr. is super strong. You got a 6'10" Paulo, best player on the team, by the way. You got a 6'10" Franz Wagner, Markel Fultz, Gary Harris, Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, like, and then on top of that, Jonathan Isaac off the bench, Mo Wagner off the bench. Like, that's just a lot of players.
Do you know who's leading the team in points per game right now?
Probably
Orlando.
Franz, right?
No, it's Franz. It's
Yeah.
he's at 19.8. Although his efficiency hasn't been tremendous. Paolo's actually been slightly more efficient there. Although his free throw shooting got to get that up. But he's averaging 5.5 assists per game. Paolo is so not going the
Hey,
Carmelo
do
route.
you want to?
That's good to see.
Well, first off, y'all got to stop doing this. Melo was a top 10 player. I don't care what none of y'all said. He was the eye candy of the league as well. Y'all got to stop hating. By the way, let me read this to y'all because Ryan over here said I'd rather have Franz Wagner than Paulo Banchero. Let me read this to you.
I would for a championship team right now.
No, okay, well,
Absolutely.
great. Yeah, all right, yeah, whatever. So I think it's 20, by the way. Paolo, 17.5, 6.2, 5.5, 55.8 true shooting on the year. Oh, and then he had a really freaking good game versus LeBron James and the Lakers as well. Franz Wagner, also a really good player, 19.8, 5.7, 3.2, 50.8 true shooting. Shot chucker. That's a shot chucker. That's the real Carmelo Anthony on that roster. 19.8 on a 50.8 true shooting.
It's 6-game sample size. It'll be fine. He'll bounce back. I am curious because both of these guys are awesome, and Nuggets fans are going to get a picture of that. So we'll talk about that next week because we probably are spending too much on them. But I think if I had to predict it now, I would say that they win versus New Orleans, that they lose versus Golden State, and that they win versus Houston.
I think it's the opposite.
Right.
I think they're more likely because they're going to get up. They're going to actually play and try for the Warriors game. And also in the last 2 seasons, they are 6-1 versus the Warriors in the regular season. So this has become a Clippers-esque matchup for them in the regular season. And this is not to be disrespectful to the Warriors. They're obviously a really good team, but the Nuggets, they got smoked when Jokic was by himself. So they are I think they feel a way about that team. And again, they want to play them. And again, if you just throw the defenders out there too, and it's like Jokic versus Kevon Looney and Draymond, and then Michael loved playing the Warriors because he grew up admiring Steph, beat Steph one-on-one at Steph's high school camp back in the day. This has been a thing. And then you got AG as well. So I actually think they're more likely to lose to the Pelicans. They beat the Warriors. Oh, but by the way, I think they're going to win both of these games because they're both at home. Just to be clear here, and the Nuggets, and then on top of that, the Rockets game. Now, the Rockets are going to be interesting because Alperen Sengun's going to play really hard. Jokic is probably not going to play really hard that game. Unless Joker is this new Joker that we're seeing that's like aggressive and proving to everybody.
And then the other aspect of it is one of the things that Joker really does, he does take the losses pretty seriously. And the last time he saw the Houston Rockets, he played just garbage. He was horrible in that game back in April. I think that he will remember that game.
That was, as a matter of fact, that's the night that Embiid had 52 versus Celtics with no Rob Williams and no Jaylen Brown.
That game won Embiid the MVP. And it wasn't the 52. It was Jokic's game.
Jokic versus Houston losing.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Minus 20.
Oh my god, he was disgustingly bad. he was just like dribbling the ball and just losing the ball in the post. Oh shit, that goes away.
And then he just puts his head down. Man,
I so much fun.
Whenever Joker is when they get a foul call and a turnover, he just. You know what it is. You get that single clap. All right, he's just playing around. Oh shucks! I shouldn't have tried that behind the head pass. And then remember the versus the Mavericks. He.
Yes,
it was in the crowd.
Yeah, no, he actually talked about that after the game and was like, "Yeah, we have to figure out the turnovers. And I need to just not make a random behind the head pass like I did." He said that.
I was like, there wasn't even a clear cutter. It was just I think he thought somebody was going to cut, and there was 3 people standing there.
Yeah. It's if a teammate is over there somewhere. That's
what I'm saying. That's how you know where Joker is mentally. This is not a game that he feels like they have to play at tip top level to beat you by 15.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll see how he approaches it. Against Houston on Sunday. There's a possibility that they go 3-0. There's also a possibility that they go 1-2 or 0-3 if this Murray injury kind of takes them out of their stuff. Yeah. But I do think that they'll be pretty focused on making that right. I want to wrap up with one more thing here before we go. Which players are your circle of trust guys right now? Which players would you have?
Okay. So let's just pretend that this circle of trust is Nikola Jokic, okay? And then, so we're going to put all the players inside of that, all right?
We're going to put the players inside of Nikola Jokic?
All right,
so that's on you, dude. It's on you.
Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown. I have a highlight tape of Reggie Jackson coming up soon, by the way. honestly, I think Zeke Najee's in there. He's been great this season. Plays even better than I thought he would. I'm gonna put, and then then I'm gonna put Peyton in there because I don't expect Peyton to be great. I expect him to have these dominant plays and then to not be great sometimes. Um, and then I'll put Reggie Jackson in there because Reggie Jackson is consistent. He's playing within himself, and that little like silky like lean that he has, like it's been really good. Like he had a move versus the Mavericks where he hesitated, went in, got a wide open 3-pointer in the corner. He had another one where he got like this nice little floater layup. I'm like, bro, he's playing well right now. So I think they're all in a circle of trust.
I kind of agree. I'm not sure I fully agree.
Here comes
Um,
pessimistic Ron, y'all. Get ready.
I'm gonna have all 5 starters in there, obviously. I think that
Right.
they're tremendous. I think that Christian Brown is in there. I think what he's been
Yeah.
able to do, especially over the course of this last week or so, because there was a time where he still looks tentative. Like
He
he definitely looks tentative
he
at times.
started a
But
week off with a 14, 7-7 game, 13,
yeah,
7-7 game.
yeah, it was great. Like no, he has turned that Bruce Brown slot into something that he just dominates. So it's been
Right.
great to see. Um, I don't think I'm gonna put Reggie in there. I don't think I'm gonna put Peyton in there. I don't think I'm gonna put Zeke in there. I think the reason for that is like there is a good positive feeling around the group right now, and I'm glad that everything has gotten off to a great start. I think 6-1, and with the way that Denver has played it, they have done what they've needed to do to get off to a good start. This is kind of the first little bit of adversity that they're hitting now with Jamal out, and I want to see how they respond to this before declaring anything in particular. I think that
Mm.
the starters I believe in, we've seen it already. Christian, we've seen it. But I think that with Julian, he's actually a guy that I was surprised. He created one of the only open shots that the bench had all night
Mhm.
in last game, and he did a really nice job running a DHO, hitting Christian Brown for his only 3 of the night, and like just created a nice little look, and like it felt right, it felt
Right.
good, it felt repeatable. There aren't a ton of things that I've seen from the bench so far outside of the defensive effort, which has been tremendous, and I want to give them credit for that. But there haven't been a ton of things, especially offensively, that I think have been repeatable that I can trust and say, like, yeah, that's definitely happening in a playoff series.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Joel Rush. By the way, before I was ever swiping, there's a few people that I used to listen to. Ryan Blackburn, great. I remember the first time I met Ryan. I think I said to you on air, like you got an ESPN voice, and I said I was glad, I was thankful you brought me on before ESPN hired you. I think I said that to you the first time I ever met you.
That's true. I'm still waiting for that call, by the way. But
Right? Yeah,
we'll see
it's
what
on the
happens.
way. It's on the way. Obviously DNVR, all them dudes, Matt Moore, all them dudes. I was a big fan of Locked On and all that stuff. This is when I was like, before I stepped into the media thing, I moved in there myself and became a media member, you know what I mean? All that other stuff. Joel Resch, I think is incredible. Joel Resch works for Forbes. He lives in Japan, so he didn't get a chance to come to the games a lot. Joel Resch put a stat out. The Denver Nuggets bench has a plus 1.7 net rating, which ranks 11th in the league. And last year they were a minus 3.9. And that was 29th in the league. Bro, if they're able to maintain that with the starters being what they are, bro, they're about to they could win 60 games. And I
Yeah.
think again that's why for me, like even with the Warriors, if you're saying they're going to D up versus the Warriors and the Pelicans this week, well then, bro, I think the starters are going to win their minutes. So I think that's what I'm saying. I think they can actually win all 3 of those games. The game I think they're most likely to lose would be the Pelicans, but I think they can. I'm gonna give a hard prediction. They go 3-0, but they go 3-0 because there's so much time. I think the Pelican game matters. I think the Warriors game matters, and then there's 3 days in between that and the Houston game. So I think they will be energized and ready to play that game again.
Okay. I'm with you. I think there's a lot to love. There's a lot to love about how the team has started. I want to see how they respond to a Murray absence. And also there's a part of me that's like, man, if this Murray absence turns into like a 3 to 4 week or a 5 to 6 week kind of injury, which it's a
Yeah,
hamstring strain. We just don't know yet. Like I can't wait to hear from Michael Malone on that and hear about the severity of it. But
right.
if this is going to be a long absence, then that's going to be really really painful. But Denver, I mean, they've got the best playmaker in the league, so like I think they'll be okay. But there's a possibility that they'll be okay as opposed to great over the course of the stretch. And heading into the play, like this in-season tournament, especially, man, they got to save up for those games specifically and try to make it work, because that's if they really do believe in the in-season tournaments, if the league believes in the in-season tournament, then they might like save on some of these other games in the intermediate time and go hard for the other ones. Go hard for the in-season tournament games. So
Yeah.
something at least that I'm watching.
Yeah, I think the offense will take a hit. I think the defense will get better though, just because will be forced to play. And I think so we'll see. I think obviously Jamal Murray, I have to have him as a top 19 player in the league. He's been shooting bad the last 3 games in a row. So, but hopefully, like I said, everything with Jamal is just get healthy. We all know who you are. The team knows who you are. They know you're there, and take as long as you need.
We will see what happens. That is going to do it now for this episode of Weekends with Swipa, Pickaxe and Roll. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. All the love and support on the podcast, as always. Go hit the like, go hit subscribe on all of our channels, whether it's Mile High Sports, Swipa Cam, or Alley Oop with Ryan Blackburn. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. This has been tremendous, as always. Really great comment section tonight. Swipa, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
We're about to see 2 of the top 10 players of all time on Wednesday play versus each other.
Steph Curry and Michael Porter Jr. It's going to be great. Thank you so much, everybody. Talk to you guys very soon.